Welcome to On Deck, where we are charting the course of Marauder Athletics. My name is Dane Sabarese, a graduate assistant in the athletics department here at Millersville, and I will be your host. Today, I'm very excited to welcome a Marauder faithful for our very first episode with an impressive resume and one of the most inspiring stories that you'll hear across all NCAA athletics. She's a 2-year starter for the women's field hockey team here at Millersville, the senior captain, was named to the NFHCA watch list, an all-PSAC third-team honoree, and has been a pivotal piece in the Marauders' 3-2 start to the season. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome me in joining field hockey's very own Emma Ruley. Emma, it's nice to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So just kind of take me back to where it all started for you. When did you start playing field hockey? And then what led you to want to pursue collegiate athletics?
Yeah, so I started playing field hockey in 5th grade. I did a bunch of summer camps and everything, just trying out new sports because middle school was coming up and I wanted to play sport in middle school. My mom introduced me to field hockey. She said I should try out because I've always been a good runner and it just seemed like fun and a lot of my friends played. So I ended up playing all throughout middle school. Around 8th grade, going to my freshman year of high school, I got more serious and I wanted to play travel ball. I found Shorebirds, which is a club out of Berlin, Maryland, Salisbury, Maryland, who were great. They were basically Division I players in their past, and their daughters now, who I got to play with on their team, are pretty much all Division I players. 2 of my former teammates play on the national team, and they're currently at Maryland now, so I think that's pretty cool. I see a lot of them in PSAC rivalry games, stuff like that. They really helped me with my recruitment process. I got recruited playing indoor, which is probably my favorite part about field hockey is playing indoor. One of the assistant coaches at the time here at Millersville had reached out to me. I decided to do a tour and I just fell in love with the coaches and the campus.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so what's that difference like playing indoor field hockey as opposed, you said you prefer it.
Indoor,
like just the surface is way different. Like how does that kind of?
It's a lot faster. It's a smaller court. It's a different stick. It's just like a fast-paced game, and I think that's what makes it really fun.
Cool. And then I also played collegiate sports as well, so the club aspect is really big because you're getting a lot of great competition as well.
100%.
So you kind of get reached out to by Millersville.
Mm-hmm.
Where does it kind of go from there? Did you come tour the campus and then?
I came to tour. I had actually seen Shelly at a few clinics here and there. I try to definitely put myself out there as much as possible. I had a few conversations with her at clinics, me and my parents, and then around my senior year of high school, I came up to watch one of Millersville games, and after I told her that I would want to come here.
Awesome. And so we'll talk a little bit about the season now. You guys started hot, 3-0, came out starting hot, and have dropped 2 games back-to-back, but against tough competition. Right. We're talking about East Stroudsburg, who's ranked top 5, and Assumption is a very good team as well. Can you speak to this 2025 team, what they bring to the table, and why you guys see yourselves as threats in the PSAC?
Right, yeah, so we have such a large senior class this year. I think there's 12 or 13 of us. And I think that our leadership as a group and having been with each other for 4 years really says a lot on the field. We work together really well. We know how each other play. We know how we react to our opponents and everything like that. This past spring was really crucial for us. We trained a lot. It was probably my hardest spring ever here, but I think that's definitely been showing on the field and is going to continue. We spent so much time with each other on and off the field, and I think just as a whole, our work ethic and our selflessness is just really going to show us apart from other teams.
Yeah, and I've talked to Shelly a lot, covering your guys' team, and the word that she uses to describe you guys, and she says that your guys' word is grit.
Yes.
And you guys have the tattooed grit words on your face, just body parts throughout the game. Describe how that kind of came about a little bit, and then I mean, obviously, grit is self-explanatory, but like what that word means to the team.
Yeah. So us as seniors, we come together a lot actually. And we decided that this was going to be our word this year because we were basically trying to think, like, what do we have that sets apart us from all the other teams? Like, is it going to be, we're probably not the most talented team, and we all know that, but I think we are the hardest working team. And I think on the field every day, we go out there and we are like, no, we're going to show grit. We're going to have grit throughout our game, and that basically means you fight till the end. You don't give up. You might not have the most skill, but you have the most heart to finish out the game. So I think that's just a really important piece of who we are as a team this year.
Awesome. And then you speak on like talent. Obviously, anyone that's playing at a collegiate level is very talented. But we talk about this PSAC division that you guys are a part of, and Shelly informed me that you guys play PSAC teams to strengthen your schedule. Like that's how good the conference is. So just kind of speak on, that being in that conference and kind of the level of competition, because obviously it's really anyone's conference and it's wide open. Right. And like I said, you guys, we have a lot of teams ranked in the top 10 nationally. We were just recently ranked there. So just kind of speak on the conference a little bit.
I think it's an honor to play in the PSAC conference, especially on the field hockey team, because any given day it could be anyone's game in the PSAC conference. I mean, we're all at the same level. Like the competition is really high, and it's just exciting. Like it's exciting to play any game, obviously in our season, but when it's a PSAC opponent, like it's like it's like a different like feeling. Like I don't know how to describe it, but like the competition is so high and intense, and every single team is great, and so that really like definitely pulls the best out of us, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
and it's fun watching it. I think people like look at field hockey and they're like, oh my god, there's so many stoppages. Like, what the heck? Like, what's going on? Why can't I understand it? But it's so interesting to watch high level field hockey.
Yeah,
and I've gotten the opportunity to do that firsthand this year, and just being able to go down and talk to Shelly after the game and be like, hey, so like I noticed you guys were doing this in a set piece, and like before I would never have even saw it through that lens. Right. So it's very interesting. How's training been? How's practices been? Obviously, this group seems like a very tight-knit group. Yeah. And I think that's what's led to a lot of your guys' success, especially early on. So how's all that kind of been for you guys?
Our practices are very high intensity. I mean, we say like when we're on, we're on. Like when we're competing against each other, like it's all or nothing. We don't do anything halfway type of thing. They're a lot of fun, and I feel like Shelly and our assistant Erica prepares us really well for our upcoming games, and I'm just excited for the rest of the season.
Awesome. And then, so I had spoken to Shelly previous, and part of what I mentioned in the intro a little bit is your story within field hockey. Yeah. And just athletics in general. You had something happen to you that is pretty traumatic for somebody to deal with, and to be where you're at now is just kind of a testament of who you are as a worker, as just an athlete, and what you kind of want to do. So if you want to touch on that a little bit, and just kind of walk me through that story a little bit.
Of course. So my senior year of high school, I finished my last field hockey season. And then I think in November, December, and that January I actually had a stroke when I was 17 years old. I was actually preparing for my last national indoor tournament. My travel team was nationally ranked, and like this was my last ever indoor anything. So like we were training a lot, maybe 2-3 times a week, like preparing for this tournament. At one of our practices, I had noticed my left leg, where my shin guard is, my chin, started to feel like it was falling asleep. And so like basically I took myself out, and all my teammates were like, what are you doing? Like, come on, like we have a tournament coming up. And I just knew something was off. So I ended up driving myself home, which was probably not a good idea, but I had like the worst headache ever, and I don't really get migraines that much, so I knew something was wrong. I get home and I obviously tell my parents about everything, and they told me, just go to bed, like sleep it off, it'll be fine. So I think I went to bed early that night, maybe around 8, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I noticed the whole right side of my body was completely like paralyzed. Like I couldn't feel anything. And I thought I had fallen asleep on that side, so I was just like, oh, maybe it'll go away in a couple minutes, but it wasn't going away. So I sat up basically and tried to stand up, and I just fell to the floor.
Wow.
So yeah, it's not funny at all, but
no,
I was really upset. I was bawling my eyes out. My parents were like, what's happening? Like all that. And I was basically like, I think we should probably go to the hospital. I just remember also I looked at myself in the mirror and basically touched the side of my forehead, and there was like an exact line of like where I didn't have feeling anymore. So I knew it was something like neurological and something like serious. So we went to the hospital that night. I actually stayed there for 9 hours doing a bunch of tests, blood work, all of that. I think 9, 10 a.m. The doctor came in and told me I was having a stroke, and I was actually flown to another hospital to get surgery. So I had surgery to remove a blood clot in my brain, actually in my wrist where I have this tattoo. And they removed the blood clot. I stayed in the hospital for a whole week doing more tests, basically trying to figure out like why it all happened. And there's still no answer of why it did happen. But for the next 3 months, I went through a lot of physical therapy, a lot of occupational therapy. I could only go to school 3 days out of the week. It was just a lot mentally and physically. And then I also had surgery again in March they figured out I had a hole in my heart, which is normal. It's like technically like a heart defect, but it's normal to have a hole in your heart, and usually it closes after birth, but of course mine did not. So that allowed the blood clot to travel from my leg up to my brain. So I had that hole closed in early March, and I had a pretty quick recovery, I want to say 3 to 4 weeks, and then I got to play my end of the season for lacrosse. And now I'm here.
Which is remarkable. Just the recovery time and turnaround time that you speak of. I mean, 3 to 4 weeks, and still being able to play finish out your sport at least, is crazy. And I think it also just speaks to like how important it is to know your body, especially in high school, especially as a senior. You're sitting there and you're getting ready for a national tournament, and the pressure of your teammates to be like, hey, like, what are you doing? Why are you sitting out? And you're like, no, something's actually wrong here. So that's pretty interesting, and I mean, testament to you to be able to be that self-aware, to be like, hey, I'm gonna take myself out for a little bit. So you spoke a little bit about the tattoo. What does that kind of represent?
It's just kind of like my recovery process and everything. Like, it was a very traumatic event, and me and my dad have always talked about getting tattoos, and he was like, oh, why don't you get something memorable? Not that I want to remember it, but also as like, like a sign of how I recovered and how I am today. I just thought that'd be a fun spot to put it.
Yeah, but it's kind of like the journey.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of everything that I've been through to get to now. So,
which is awesome. Yeah. That's really cool. Now, I'm not sure how much of it you do remember, how much of it you were probably not in the best for, but what is that experience like finding out, okay, I'm going to now get flown to a different hospital for some emergency surgery?
I was definitely out of it, and I was honestly just exhausted from being in the hospital for that many hours. I mean, kudos to my parents, like, they were there by my side the entire time, like, they're awesome, but I was just kind of in a daze. I had no idea I was getting surgery, actually, so, like, waking up to that and then, like, realizing everything that happened was obviously, like, a lot, but the doctors were very hopeful. Me being 17, very young, to be having a stroke, they were like, you should make a full recovery. But they didn't understand the timeline or anything, and neither did I. So that was kind of like the biggest, like, I don't know if I will be able to play again, but it's just kind of like, I'm going to try everything in my power to get back on my feet, basically.
So now, if you're to speak on that a little bit, so like, you now, I assume by then, have committed here to play just field hockey, right? Okay. What is that thought process like? Where like, will I be able to play again? Is there this fear that like the recovery is going to take a lot longer, and then just, I mean, God forbid that happening. Like you just have that fear now that that's something that can happen.
Right.
So, what is that kind of thought process like? Did you reach out to Shelly? Did you reach out to anybody here and just kind of be like, hey, like this is the situation,
right.
And just kind of, what was that decision even like for you to be like, hey, I still want to try to play?
Yeah. So I was actually on my way to the tournament, which was probably not the best idea because I watched my team, which at the time there was 7 of us girls on the team. So then they only ended up having 1 sub, which was just like a lot. And just watching them play like made me very emotional, obviously, because I knew I would never play with that team again. It was probably, I want to say, a month and a half later. We were on our way to the tournament, and my mom was kind of like, hey, I think we need to reach out to Shelly in Millersville to just let her know about what happened. And so we ended up calling her and explaining everything, and kudos to her. She said, it doesn't really matter to me. I will still have a spot on this team. She just wished me for a good recovery, and I really appreciate her giving that chance to me. So yeah.
Yeah, and I've been now down to like 2 practices with you guys, and I've obviously got to know Shelly a lot. But the way that she coaches, there's something about it that like it's compassionate, but it's also hard. Like she's gonna let you know. It's like that mama bear where it's like, hey, I love you guys. I always want to know what you guys are thinking. I always want to know you guys are feeling all right. But we got some work to do, and we're going to put in that work. Yeah. Kind of speak on just that kind of dynamic with her. Is there a time where you can, as a senior captain, walk up and say, hey, Shelly, I don't really think this is working out great? And she'll kind of absorb that, or is she kind of more of like set in her ways and how she wants to coach?
Honestly, it's kind of a little bit of both. And I think as a senior class, we have a great relationship with her. She puts a lot of trust in us. You know, us as a group being there since freshman year, we know how she works. We know how our practices are going to be. We know what she expects, which I think is just really important for us. She will definitely tell me when I need to get it together or whatever. She'll definitely tell me if I'm doing something wrong, but also I can always come to her and she will respect what I have to say. And same with Erica. I have a great relationship with Erica, our assistant, who helps with our forward line the most, and she trusts me on a lot of things, and I really appreciate it.
I want you to speak a little bit on just kind of your jump as a player. Last year being named to All-PSAC, I mean, we talked about the talent and how talented it is. What was it like to be kind of honored as one of those players? I
mean, it was great. Honestly, I didn't think I was going to receive anything. We had a kind of rough season last year, just with a lot of the competition, and I only ended up scoring 5 goals. I kind of had a slow start in the beginning, and then towards the end of the season, we got into overtime a lot, so that opened up scoring opportunities quickly. But yeah, I'm just really excited for this year, and I think I have people now in our midfield and our forward line who are helping me make those connections with people, helping me finish the goal. So yeah, I'm just really excited overall just to see where the season takes us.
Yeah, I spoke a little bit with Alexis about your guys' relationship in the front line, because that's 2 veteran players that know what they're doing, know their way around the front line. And the one goal that I like vividly remember when I was speaking to her was like, it's almost like a give and go action kind of thing that you guys had going on. So just kind of like speaking to that chemistry about her obviously transferring here for her final year. How's that kind of been?
Yeah, we're super excited to have Lexi. She's super smart. Obviously, she's experienced, and she's just a selfless player. And with us working together, I don't know, there's just something about, like, I know where she's going to be. We have a great communication on the field with our other forward, Meg. And yeah, like, I know that she'll give me the ball, and if she calls for the ball, I know I'm going to get it to her because she's probably going to score. So
Yeah.
It's just kind of a trust thing that we developed pretty quickly. But it's been amazing, and she's been a really good help in the front line.
Cool. So then, like, my final question for you is, now as a senior, what would be the biggest piece of advice you'd give to your younger self? And that could be anything in starting your field hockey journey, and when you were going through recovery and some of those days felt like they might never end, like that kind of feeling. And then, like I said, or to some of those younger players on the team right now that don't necessarily understand that their games are numbered, and that you know, once that final game happens, it's kind of it. So
yeah, I just always tell myself, like, I can just remember spring practices or my freshman year practice thinking, oh my god, this is the longest practice ever, and like I could be studying, I could be doing this, whatever. Like, I just think about that now and thinking about how much, like, I just, like, respect it now. Like, I go out to practice and be like, it's not that, like, I can be here, it's like I also want to be here. And there's a bunch of other people who would want to be in my spot, and just knowing that, like, what everything that I went through, and like the team obviously knows about everything that happened, so I just tell them, like, and a lot of them have experience too with injuries and whatnot, but having to sit on the sideline and watch your team is just a different feeling, and not everyone can understand that until, you know, it happens. And I just think taking one day at a time and just being great, like, for me, I'm just, like, grateful that, like, I am still here, and which is, like, crazy to say, but also, like, it's really important to me. And yeah, I'm gonna be really upset at the end of the season, that's all I gotta say. But yeah, taking each game, and then honestly I get upset when games end, and because it's time you don't get back.
No,
So,
I hear you. Plenty of games left, so
You're right.
So keep that
Yeah.
in the forefront of your mind. And it was great having you on. I appreciate you sharing your story. Really awesome. So thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. That is all for today's voyage on Deck, where we're charting the course for Marauder Athletics. I'm your host, Dane Sabarese, graduate assistant here in the athletic department. Thanks for coming aboard. Make sure to follow along so you never miss the next chapter on our journey. Until next time, anchors away and go Bill.